Today, we're going back to COVID. No, it's not 2020, it is 2026. Crisis, chaos, and who really profits? Let's take the mask off. I thought it was funny, so I did it. Anyways, yes, you remember COVID, didn't? All the shit that came with it, all the uncertainty, all the scams. And even till today, they're still going around. So we're going back to COVID, crisis, chaos, and who really profits? Let's see. Funny how every few years, there's always another crisis. A virus outbreak, oil price spiking, markets crashing, supply chains collapsing, fear everywhere. And somehow the people at the top always seem prepared, while regular Americans get crushed in the middle. Spike or crash? What do you think? Well, I'm going to tell you my opinion. And again, this is my perspective. Somebody always profits either way. At some point, people stop asking, is this a coincidence? And start asking, who benefits from the chaos? Episode 11, Barbie Unfiltered, is going there. Not the version endlessly prepared by the mainstream media, but the unanswered questions and growing investigations and the accountability that American people still deserve. So much happened during those years that changed lives forever. Families lost loved ones. Remember the nursing homes. Businesses were destroyed. Jobs vanished. Children fell behind. Personal freedoms were challenged. Public trust was shattered for at least 80% of the people who voted. And now, with few federal charges, hidden communication, destroyed records, and mounting concerns over transparency, many Americans are asking, what really happened? Who made these decisions? Who benefit? And why has the true accountability remained so elusive? While not everyone responsible has faced legal consequences, one thing is clear. This was more than a public health crisis. For many, it became a definition moment of government overreach. Institution secrecy, and constitutional concerns. This episode drives into the Warren indictment. Remember Fauci or whatever his name is, era leadership scrutiny, suppressed debates, vaccine controversies, record destruction allegations, and the long-term consequence for every American. This isn't about fear. This is about facts, freedom, and demanding answers, because we, the people, deserve transparency. So let me share with you what kind of got me to do this particular show. I want to share with you screens here. Let me see this guy being indicted. So let's see.
Dished out a shocking indictment accusing a former senior advisor to Dr. Anthony Fauci for allegedly concealing records amid probes into the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic. 78-year-old David Morens has been charged with conspiracy against the United States, destruction, alteration, or falsification of records in federal investigations, concealment, removal, or mutilation of records, and aiding and abetting. The indictment, which was unsealed on April 27th in Maryland federal court, also lists two unnamed co-conspirators who, quote, concealed, removed, destroyed, and caused the concealment and removal of federal records to evade the Freedom of Information Act and the Federal Records Act. According to communications first exposed by the Post in May 2024, Morens, who served as a senior advisor to Fauci from 2006 to 2022, conducted official government business from a private email account and asked the National Institutes of Health's FOIA liaison for tips on how to evade records requests. In an email from February 2021, Morens wrote, I learned from our FOIA lady here how to make emails disappear after I am FOIA'd, but before the search starts. He later went on to write that he, quote, deleted most of those earlier emails after sending them to Gmail. 2 months later, in April 2021, Morens also wrote, there is no worry about FOIAs. I can either send stuff to Tony on his private Gmail or hand it to him at work or at his house. He is too smart to let colleagues send him stuff that could cause trouble.
He's too
In
smart.
September 2021, Morens wrote that he would, quote, always communicate on Gmail because my NIH email is FOIA'd constantly, and, quote, delete anything I don't want to see in the New York Times.
So, how do you like that? Why aren't more people upset about that? I just don't understand it. There, you have it all right there. They are pretty much guilty of everything that we thought. So why aren't more people pissed off? Because I'm pissed off. You know, we had over a million children worldwide lost a parent or a caregiver. Millions more experience isolation, loss of income, separation from the loved ones, and deep political divisions that still exist today because this freaking thing, if you weren't wearing one, they called you every name in the book. And for the most part, I wore whenever I had to, but I did not. I hated them. And when you went somewhere and you didn't have one, they called you names. They told you were killing people. And we knew better. Some of us knew better. Anyways, I just feel like more people should be super pissed off with this. The global economy contracted sharply. The United States experienced one of the largest economic drops in modern history. Over 200,000 Americans and American businesses permanently closed. But Pelosi and her husband received a PPP loan for $1.7 million. And guess what? That was forgiven. These are facts. You can look them up. Forgiven. I don't know about you, but I can only imagine that how many people of those wealthy politicians who had any businesses or spouses had businesses who continue to complain about taxing the wealthy should start by not sticking their hands in the cookie jar. We can all assume the Pelosi's was not the only one. There are a lot of people in Congress or in the Hill, whatever you want to call it, in Washington, whose spouses have businesses and they benefit from it. Do you mean to tell me that that particular business needed $1.7 million? And not only to give it, but to forgive it. Meanwhile, restaurants, gyms, family-owned stores, small-town business only applied to survive. Not just PPP, that they needed to get an IDL loan. I forgot what that's called, if it's IDEL or whatever, but it's another kind of loan. That was not forgiven. And there's people today, still today, paying that back. Which means these wealthy politicians knew exactly what loans to apply for. And for small businesses, the amount forgiven for the PPP loan was crumbs compared to these big companies. Because the PPP loan, it's my understanding, was given on how many employees you had to kind of get them through that shutdown. Well, small businesses don't have the amount of employees such as big businesses do. And I cannot even fathom how they applied for it. And then they got forgiven. It just blows my mind. So, with that said, they knew which loans to get. They knew which loans to apply for. because they didn't apply for the other loan that had to be paid back, the IDL, whatever it's called. They knew those had to be paid back. This is why we call it what? Plandemic. Plandemic. Not only did it mess up Trump's presidency, which I believe it was their number one reason why they went hard. I mean hard on the pandemic. But it opened the door to all the fraud that we are seeing now years later. Because again, during the Biden administration, you were never going to see that. And even if it came out, they would have swept it under the rugs because media was in it. Everybody was in it. I should say every Democrat was in it. I'm assuming there might be a couple rhinos in there, but regardless, they would have swept it under the rug. The fraud. You know how much money they got from those COVID shots? All these medical insurance companies, big pharma. Well, the numbers are so high that nobody's talking about it. So I want you to think about this. So COVID shots, Medicare, public aid, hospice. The list goes on and on and on. But say this number with me, 2.7 trillion. Trillion. 2.7 trillion. From fraud from Medicare alone. Say it out loud. 2.7 trillion. And guess what? They send that money, our money, overseas. It didn't even stay in our country. It was sent overseas. Just look at what's going with Minnesota. You have people of Congress that they laugh and they won't even show up for a congressional hearing or a subpoena. They wipe their asses with it. They don't follow. The laws are in the books, but they are a special kind. They don't follow it, but you and I have to follow the law. So anyways, say that number again, 2.7 trillion that they stole from the American taxpayer, because all these programs are federal programs. It is the biggest fraud as politicians put their hands and pick out from the cookie jar. This Pratt guy in LA, for starters, when the fires happened, just to give you an idea, the mayor and even pretty boy governor, when that happened, they didn't know how to get ahead of it. I mean, God forbid, tell the truth and say, we fucked up. Some of this stuff needed to be working and it didn't work. God forbid you tell the truth and own it. They went to a PR firm to clean things up. And guess how that PR firm got paid? From the same money that you donated it to the fires, or another slush fund that they had that was taxpayers' money. Think about that for a minute. They went to a PR firm to help them clean out, to get in front of this fire in Los Angeles. What do you think? This guy is just fed up. He's not even Republican or Democrat, but he is letting it all out there. And I love it. I swear to God, I think I've seen more than 20 videos. If you don't get that is happening in every blue state, think again. Children lost critical years of education and social development. Even today, many schools and students still have not recovered, academically or emotionally. And here in Illinois, instead of educating, they lower scores so they can look good. Instead of educating, they lower the scores. They lower the bar. Guys, everything that's been happening in this socialist Democratic Party started in our schools and in our colleges. And we're seeing a result of that in every day with these liberals. You either have the ones that are fresh out of college, or you have the old ones that went to, Woodstock or whatever it was called when the hippies, now they're old and now they want socialist again. They just turned socialist. Many people believe vaccines helped and saved lives during the height of the pandemic, but there were also documented side effects, big time. A lot of young males died because of it, including myocarditis, pericarditis, and a rare clotting disorder that continue to be studied and debated today. I know firsthand of an older man who started getting blood clots in his legs. Poor guy. He's been through a bunch of stuff with his doctor about it, and they have him in a special meds. And they told him, oh, by the way, you cannot take any more booster shots. So the wife, a friend of mine, said, well, if he can't take him, if if he cannot take, I don't want him either. Again, unless you're in it and you see it for yourself, you think, oh yeah, no, give me another shot. Yeah, give me as many as you want. I don't want to get this, and I want to protect everybody. You're only hurting yourself. Because let's face it, we live a long time now. I wouldn't put it past them if they want to kill us still. Just saying. So thousands of Americans still believe their concerns were ignored, including me, dismissed or silenced, instead of openly discussed. How many doctors were shut up? Hey, how many accounts were locked? How many people lost a bunch of followers because they started talking about the vaccine? And even Google, YouTube. I think one of the only ones that kind of stayed pretty decent was Rumble. So again, it was a pandemic. Now, years later, we're finding out about deleted emails, hidden communication, federal investigations, and officials accused of avoiding transparency laws during one of the most important moments in modern day history. And I think the deadline um, for anybody to be held accountable, it's somewhere in May, and I don't know the specific date. But that's why, they couldn't get everybody that was involved, so they went after this guy because apparently the evidence was overwhelmingly. But some will tell you that no, this is Trump going after these people. That is not true. They could see the proof, but again, these are the people that you could show them the truth, and they will still deny it and say, no, that Trump is going after these doctors, especially Fauci. Fauci should be in jail. Or somebody should give him 100 COVID shots, just one after the other. Boom, 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 boom. Because he was a pathetic liar. I still remember the day that he was at the baseball game sitting with his family with no mask on. I will never forget that, while all of us could not even go to a baseball game. They know they can't pull that crap again. So with this new variant that's going around, think again. It ain't going to fly this time around. These politicians got paid. Some even committed fraud. God knows the wealthy benefited while regular Americans suffered. The same people constantly pushing socialists down our throats for the little people, but never for themselves. They want nothing more than to wipe away the middle class, so we all become government dependent. Once again, I have to bring Cuba up. Nick Shirley. He just got back from there. And luckily, the people there were honest with him. I highly recommend that you find his video. And everybody go out and watch this video, because these socialist and communist ideologies are already here. If people are willing to open their eyes, maybe they can see it. This is a very important time in our lives. And I believe anyone who has experienced communism, such as myself, firsthand, has the obligation to speak up. the Pratt guy in LA exposing hypocrisy with AI videos. He's neither Republican or Democrat, but he has common sense. That's all it is. Common sense. I'm not asking you to change party. I am asking you to use your common sense. He is just using his common sense. And he digged and he has found all the receipts. And he gave them all to AI, and he's been making videos after videos after videos, and I love them, especially this one. Let me share you this one, because this one is really, really cute, and I actually like it because it's in Spanish, and I guess he calls the mayor basura, meaning trash. So this is really, really cute. Let me show you this one. I absolutely love it. It's called Saca la basura, which means take out the trash. Check this out. It's so cute.
Spencer, saca la basura. Spencer, saca la basura.
It is so cute.
Latinos por Pratt.
Latinos for Pratt. Check that one out.
Mayor 2026. Ahí va. Mayor Karen took a trip way off.
Guys, you need to watch this. It is hilarious. It is hilarious. So again, these are the things that we need to do. And I believe that some of these things are going to open the door for many, many other people to be able to run for office, because, I mean, you're not spending as much money creating these videos. And I'm telling you, there must be at least 20 of them out there. All of them are genius. Genius. He's just using common sense, but he also exposed the current LA mayor and her background, which was news to me. But now we know why she's so communist. Mayor Basura, you check the video out. She traveled to Cuba in her younger years and openly spoke positively about some of Fidel Castro's ideas, just like some of the people in Congress. I forgot her name. She's actually trying to get gas for Cuba. These people don't understand that any money, anything you do for Cuba, it's for the communist regime. To me, that proves many of the radical left are far too comfortable with communist ideologies, whether it's Cuba or China. And as much as they complain about Russia and China, sometimes it feels more like a political theater than genuine concerns. I haven't digged into this, but today or over the weekend, I saw a country that is making deals with China. Something about some new cars that came out that China has just put out. They're pretty affordable, and they're going into other countries because they're buying it. And I'm telling you guys, those cars are Trojan. Imagine having that car in our country where every information that it gathers from the driver and from the cameras goes straight to China. And it's affordable. We have people in our country right now that would jump on that if that was ever allowed to come to our country. So as much as they complain about Russia and China, sometimes feels like political theater, because we know that they love it. They want to work with them. They just tell you, oh, no, 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 no. And they pretend that they're scared or we shouldn't because they're communists. So are you. So is the Democratic Party. They don't believe in capitalism, yet they campaign against millionaires while being funded by millionaires. So all these riots or protests, all of them have been funded by a millionaire. And then they go on TV and tell you that they are fighting for us. Why not give all that money to the poor people? Why not clean your streets? Why are these wealthy communists so dead set in paying for these protests? I mean, come on, guys, use common sense. It's a weird cycle. None of them want to admit it. Some people need to look in the mirror, but honestly, I don't think many care anymore. All these blue states continue supporting policies that many Americans feel put everyone else first instead of American citizens. As these blue states continue supporting policies that many Americans feel put everyone else first instead of American citizens. Very few old school Democrats are willing to stand up to the far left. We only have one guy, and who would have thunk it? Because he turned out to be a guy with common sense. The one guy left willing to speak out is no other than John Fetterman. I would have never, ever. He surprises me every time I see him on TV. At the end of the day, this isn't about left versus right anymore. It's about protecting freedom, protecting the middle class, and making sure government never again gains that much unchecked power over the American people. While Americans fight over policies, price, and headlines, one thing keeps happening quietly in the background. The largest transfer of wealth we've ever witnessed is happening right under our noses. Small businesses struggle, families drown in debt, the middle class shrinks. Meanwhile, massive corporations, insiders, and elites somehow keep getting richer through every crisis. Oil spike, market crash, outbreak happens, fear spreads. Spike or crash, somebody profits either way. And people are finally starting to ask questions. And if you haven't, please do so. Please do so. Hope everybody had a great Mother's Day. My son gave me something really cute that I wanted to share with you guys because I thought it was super cute and very different. It says, read me when happy, thankful, angry, anxious, lonely, or sad. Color-coded blue verses. It's like a little jar, and it has all this stuff in there. I cannot wait to use this in the morning. And I thought that was cute. And this son of mine, Greg, I would have never thunk he'd be so loving because we got his teenage years were pretty difficult sometimes. But he has really surprised me. And the one thing I could kind of attribute to that is his wife and his wife's family. They're very religious and they go to church every Sunday. And anyways, I think that's a great thing. And I know many young people are turning to church, and thank God for that. But Mother's Day is difficult for those who've lost mothers. My mom is not dead, but I already said my goodbyes to her. She's got dementia. I don't have a lot of great memories of my mother, but nevertheless, it does suck. And then mothers who have children, for whatever reason, they're not close. So Mother's Day, it's painful all around. But I got through it. I did some gardening. I hope you did as well. For those moms who have their family and everything is great, good for you. We don't envy any of that. Just always remember that there's some that are hurting in the background, so to speak. So I just hope everybody had a great Mother's Day. And I also wanted to do something girly, but I think that would be it. And my best advice to the women, especially those like me who are warriors and have gone through some really tough shit in their lifetime, is forgive yourself. Forgive yourself because, and again, I'm preaching it, but I'm working through it as we speak. And it's a tough step to take. I go to Al-Anon meetings, and at first I was like, I don't want to do this. But then I realized, well, wait a second. My whole life I've been around some sort of druggie or alcoholic. I go to Al-Anon on Fridays, and I'm also seeing a therapist thanks to my husband every now and then. Um, and we went through that forgiveness thing. It was like literally Friday and then Sunday is Mother's Day. And then I had therapy on Saturday too. And yeah, it is tough to forgive. So all I could say is get your higher power and try. And I'm trying to. Some of these things are really hard, especially birthdays, Mother's Day, and stuff like that. Or even your loved ones. Sometimes we bring that shit into a relationship too, and you're worth it. You are worth the work. And I'm just sorry it took me 59 years. I almost want to cry. I'm just sorry that it took me 59 years to get some sort of help. So again, I hope you had a great Mother's Day. Love yourself, treat yourself, give yourself love, and forgive yourself. Thank you and have a great day, guys. Love you.